Welcome to the TTT News Special. I'm DK Rosta. We encourage you to continue viewing the newscast for pearls of pandemic positivity, showing methods that persons are using to cope during this period. Now, there are a great deal of DIY or do-it-yourself projects taking place. We are joined by a professional in geometric wall designs, though, in the person of Solange Mendoza, the founder of Visual Lines Geometric Wall Designs. Hello, Solange, how you do?
Hi, I am blessed. And how are you?
Working on it, thank you. But I want to know, let me know who or what is Visual Lines?
All right, great. So, first and foremost, I just want to thank you all for the opportunity for allowing me to come on here and share my talent with the world. So, who am I? My name is Solange Mendoza, just to reintroduce myself. And the name of my business is Visual Lines Geometric Wall Designs. And geometric wall designs is just basically using geometry to form art pieces that will definitely help the shape and the physical and even the psychological aspect of someone's mental and even their space. What we basically do, we offer unique and customized assistance in design choices from concepts to implementations. We also basically do primary residential vacation homes of business discerning quality conscious clients and customers. Um, so with that being said, we would have also looked at the aspect of the psychology of shapes. And this type of psychology of shapes would have stemmed from us doing some sort of intrinsic research. And after doing research, we would have found out that these shapes, a lot of persons would communicate via visually. Um, so with that being said, we would have used the psychology of shapes that also help form and conceptualize ideas in the minds of persons that they could display on the walls. So it's just bringing together these expressions that persons would have to the design and capitalizing on the idea of the psychology of shapes within it.
Well, with that in mind, and I want to get into the psychology of shapes in just a little, in a little more detail in a bit, but answer the person who said, but I could do that with wallpaper. What's the difference between geometric paintings, geometric wall designs, and wallpaper to
Right.
you?
So wallpaper, it's basically more stuck on. The difference between the wallpaper and what I do, it's hand painted. So I start off basically just doing a consultation and then I go in and I frame up. So we frame up and then we go in and we design. We design along the way or we design based on the customer's choice.
I like the fact that you say you go in or you go in and do it, but how does the pandemic treat an enterprise like this?
So far, most of the persons has been very positively responsive to the design. Also, being the fact that it's new, they are very much loving it. They love the concept. They love the idea behind it. They would have also, told me about the psychological aspect about it. So far we have been receiving very good comments. Feedback is actually good. It has not The pandemic has not affected the business, only the construction aspect. I mean, when the construction would have closed, we would have had no choice but to hold a little bit and delay on it. But other than that, it's blooming, and I'm very blessed for that.
And part of the reason that I ask is because we're looking at physical distancing. So people talking about, okay, well, this person has COVID cooties or they're just trying to be safe. So what aspects of safety do you bring into your business when you are offering a service or an experience like this?
Um, First and foremost, when the pandemic was a little more intensive, I would have done virtual consultations with the clients. So now the aspect what I do is that we tend to go into more vacant properties now, because of the fact that there's no one living there, and it's a little more less traffic there. So with regards to the pandemic aspect, we do the more vacant properties, but then when the pandemic eases up a little bit, then I go in to do the business, commercial and residential, with persons being there.
I know, back to the psychology of aspect of it. What are some of the things that you say, okay, well, X is a trigger for Y? What are some of those things that we can look at and say, okay, well, these are directly related to these responses or reactions?
Okay, so nicely. The triangles in particular, they have two meanings, depending on their position. So when it's pointed up, they represent stability, energy, power, etc. And no, triangles are associated more primarily with like a masculine shape. So when inverted, it also represents a female reproduction. And then we have the spiritual aspect about it, and triangles represent a union of body, mind, and spirit. So that's on the triangle aspect. And then we have the rectangles and the squares. I try to incorporate the rectangles and squares into my design at times. So rectangles and squares associated with balance and tradition, circles associated with protection and femininity. Shapes, the square shapes are formed by the straight lines, and the right triangles gives the viewers a sense of security, right? So on the whole, um, basically it's all about discipline, strength, courage, stability, protection, femininity. So that's the concept that the shapes portray, um, and the meanings behind them.
And is this meaning something that is cultural, as in located to the space or the region, or does it just, is it all encompassing? What's your experience with
It
that?
is, yes, definitely. No, the geometric aspect has been noticed internationally, so it has been developed there. Caribbean wise, a lot of persons are not familiar with it Caribbean wise. However, that's why I am bringing to the forefront the aspects so persons are able to connect with it on that point of view. So I'm hoping to branch off Caribbean wise, as well as much as possible, because it's already recognized internationally.
And you say that, and you have me thinking about things like the pyramids. You have me thinking about things like the Ankh. The fact that we have circles in so many aspects of our culture as persons living in the Caribbean, looking at the significance of something like the Gael for Kalinda or the Horda for Capoeira. So, but I also want to ask though, does color play a part in what it is you do as well, or is it just more the shapes?
So definitely, color plays a significant role in the aspect as well, because color basically immenses energy. So there is the aspect of color that I have to take into consideration, because color, for example, like on the darker side of the color wheel, it represents different meanings. So you'd want to go on if somebody has a dull you know, dull color on their wall, you'll want to ask them, how do you feel in this space? And then they'll probably tell you, well, sometimes I feel very depressed, I feel very down. And then you automatically connect and say, okay, well, the reason why you feel this way is because of this is the color that's on the wall. We need to brighten it up a little bit, just to give you that sense. And most times when I do, and I brighten up the color, and I put a color that is more reflecting their personality, they are like, oh my God, I feel much more comfort. I feel a level of comfort. I feel a level of more, my mood is in a better position, and stuff like that. So definitely color has a big part to play in it.
Okay, and do you find the flip happening as well? The person say, okay, well, this is a place that they're trying to, I guess, relax, meditate, have a certain kind of mental state, and they find they're a little too, I guess, excitable, too energetic in that space. Have you done the flip as well?
Yes, I would have tried to calm it down on that sense as well. So at times it don't work, but most of the times it do. As I go based on the person's personality, their artifacts, what do they have in their house, the different furnitures, different things um, come together to form how I would design the space basically.
And definitely that's one of the things that we want to get into when we return from this break in terms of your consultations, how it is people engage you, looking at what is there to determine what will be the final outcome, as well as looking at modalities like what you do versus something like feng shui. So we get into all of that good stuff with Solange Mendoza when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with Solange Mendoza, founder of Visual Lines GWD. Now, Solange, if someone were to ask the difference between the methodology that you use and something like feng shui, what would you say?
Um, First and foremost, I would The method that I chose to do, I go and do physical consultation. So the first thing I do, I would look at the size of the wall. I would look at the area in which that you want to transform. For example, if you want to do like your bedroom, etc. So if it's a room or if it's a space that is empty, I that is even perfect for me to now go and create something that is more that what you're looking for. Now, if it's something that I have to recreate, so I would look at the size of the wall. I would look at what are the artifacts that you already have on the wall. I'm sorry, the space, the furnitures, the colors that you have existing, and then from that I'll be able to now map out. So sometimes I do a mapping of the space. I use Sherwin-Williams Paint, so that way Sherwin have an app, and their app it's you can go and play around with the colors and put the colors on the walls, etc. So the customer able to see what the outcome looks like at the end. So there are numerous amounts of steps that I would have would take because it's back and forth with the customer. So I probably would have to do two visits if the customer is not satisfied with what I map out. I'll say, okay, let me come back and do another visit and see how best we could change this space and what are the things that we could move around. But I specifically specialize in only the wall designs. I do have certification in the interior design aspect and the decor aspect, but I just leave it as the specializing in the wall design aspect, as that is the accent wall, and that is really enough to transform a space technically.
And even before we get into the back and forth that you just spoke about engaging a customer, how did you decide, okay, well, this is something that I'm going to get myself involved in?
I would have, it actually started off as a hobby. And from the hobby, I was like, hey, well, I can capture, I could conceptualize and transform someone's space because I would have done it for my living room, and most of my family members would have said it did mentally increase a lot of different aspects of them, their well-being. And with that being said, I would have done different um, experiments, and then from that, I would have branched off into it fully now, being my own business.
Okay. Now, everyone comes to the table with something. You have your personal biases. You may like pink, I might like yellow. How much of the consultation is you saying, okay, well, this is what I suggest? How much of it is the customer saying, okay, well, this is my idea. I want you to do it. I want you to implement it for me. Thanks.
Um, I would say on an average, majority of the time, the customer leaves it up to myself to decide. There are the customers that come exactly, they portray exactly what it is they want. They come with a sketch, or they probably would show me a picture that they would have seen, and they would just want me to disseminate it. So, but majority of the times, they leave it up to me to decide on the design, the colors, etc. After the consultation, I would show them, okay, these colors is associated with what I would have sensed from you, your personality, etc. And majority of the time, they respond positive and they said, okay, no problem, you go in and do what you have to do.
That's nice to know, but there's someone who says the success of any visual storytelling or visual marketing strategy relies mainly on what the audience perceives. I want to know how that ties in to a saying of yours that I've seen a few times, that perception is art. How do you tie those two kind of sensibilities together?
So perception is art. Definitely, it's how you perceive it to be. Because, for example, somebody could look at the work and say, I don't like it. And again, somebody else could look at it and be like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. So it all depends on your mental and what you think is beautiful and what you think is art. Because not a lot of people, they just look at a portrait, maybe a tree, a ocean, something regards to that, and they think that that is art. However, art is not. It don't always have to be straight lines. When I say straight lines, but paintings like an actual portrait for it to be beautiful or for it to be artistic. Um,
And with that in mind, is there anything that you would say, like if someone sees a piece of your work, they say, okay, well, I know Solange was responsible for this. Is there an aesthetic that you have already, or is it highly customizable?
It is very precise, I could tell you. So one of the things that I go based on, I have that level of OCD. So my work is very, very, very clean. So from the moment you see it, I have that uh individualized, um how to put it, touch, where when someone sees my work, they automatically know that it's my work because there are other persons that are doing it. My competition is not that big, but there are persons that are very, very, very well as, good at it. But what makes it a little different is the fact that I would have incorporated the psychology of shapes within the design. Majority of the persons, they would have only done it for the aesthetic look, but I would have also incorporated that psychology of shapes so that it will give it that boost of not just being visually inclining, but also mentally appropriate for persons.
Reminds me of somebody saying there's levels to this. But in terms of those levels, though, outline the process of someone reaching out to you. How do they do that? How do they contact you? And take me through the process of idea to finished product. Thanks.
Sure. So, majority of the persons would have contacted me via the social media platform, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or I would have handouts that have done my marketing strategies by handing out the flyers, etc. So from the moment they contact me, I would firstly direct them to my WhatsApp, and then from there we get a better communication and connection. From that communication and connection, because they would probably send me a picture that at that point in time, just telling me, well, they saw this and they want to get they want me to redesign it. Majority of the times, they will choose a design that I would have already done, but what I like to tell customers is that every piece is uniquely um, done for each customer. So that you are not going to go into someone else's home and find that same exact art piece because it's tailored towards that specific person. So at that point, I would probably let them know, here's what, okay, we can duplicate something similar, but I have to do the consultation. So after doing the consultation with them, measurements of the walls, sit with them, get a little feel of their personality, then we'll go into decide the color. After we decide the color, then I'll go do the quotation for them, send it back to them. Once it's okay, we schedule a day. Now, majority of the times, if it's a very small job, it will take about 1 to 2 days. If it's something that is more on the heavier side, it will take about a week, um, extensively. So after doing the sending back the quotations and they agree and we set the date, it's done, and I finish with it within 2 days time, a week time, and the customer, most of the times, they are so pleased. They use it as their accent wall, they use it as their picture wall, they use it as their, they use it for everything. And just by that, and the way in which they are more, because from the moment, what I look at as well is that when I go to visit them, I kind of want to know, okay, this is a personality now, but when we finish with the design, there is a difference in their personality at the end of it. More bubbly, more open, more warm, more welcoming, and they feel more confident about their space. So they are like, this another customer had sent me a video of, she was having a little Lyme, and she was so, oh my God, you're coming and see this art piece, coming and see this art piece. And she was so excited to show off the art piece to her family and friends. And that's something that she said she never really used to do, like welcome persons into her home in that way. So definitely we are seeing that it is used, to enhance someone's mental, enhance how someone feels, and it's just basically to enhance their whole persona,
And I want
basically.
to, and Solange, I want to thank you for enhancing the conversation time that we've had at this point in time. Also letting individuals know that they can see some of your work on Facebook and Instagram. So we want to thank you for making the time. On behalf of the entire news team, we want to thank you for tuning in to the TTT News Special.